And I was looking at the 60,000 people that were there, signs saying, you know, defund the police. This is a pivotal moment in history. We are going to move in a different direction, and policing will never be the same as it was before.
There you've got Seattle's police chief calling for negotiations with the occupiers of the police-free zone. Carmen Best adding she wishes she knew how long this is going to last, Ainsley.
That's right. Occupiers seizing 6 blocks 1 week ago. The area includes the city's 3rd police precinct. It's now being called CHOP, Capitol Hill Organized Protest. Brian.
Right. The group releasing a list of demands, including free college tuition, rent control, and police reform. They also have their own garden, so maybe they can live off the land. Governor Mike Huckabee joins us, Fox News contributor. Governor, if the police chief doesn't know when it's going to end, how are we supposed to know?
Well, we're never going to know, because the officials who are supposed to stay with a sense of order have allowed this to just degenerate into utter chaos. And so it's going to last as long as they're willing for it to last. Why don't they turn off the electricity, the water, the gas, and jam all of the communication signals coming in and out of there? When these people can't go on social media, when they can't call in for things by way of their iPhones, things come to a grind pretty quick when no supplies can come in and out. And what the police and the mayor and the governor ought to do, if they had any brains at all, they would make it so that people who want to get the heck out of there, the law-abiding citizens that are stuck in this incredible hellhole, would be allowed to get the heck out. But they're not allowed to, and these people have taken over. This is a hostage situation. And I don't understand why they somehow think that it's the summer of love. No, this is a summer of crime, outright insurrection and crime. And it's going to last as long as these weak wuss officials in Washington State allow it to happen.
Well, it is a summer we're all going to remember for a very long time. Meanwhile, Joe Biden is in the process, Governor, of trying to figure out who his vice presidential nominee would be. And on the list, apparently, one of 6 women is Elizabeth Warren. Her hometown paper, not crazy about it. The Herald headline says Elizabeth Warren could be the only thing to sink Joe Biden. And then the article goes on to say Warren has always been the media's darling in the race, and she's likely to hang on as a shortlist candidate for Veep, if only to appease her progressive supporters and her media enablers. Biden can pretend that he's seriously considering Warren to keep the far left in the fold, but if Biden actually loses his mind and picks her, then he deserves to lose. What do you say about the Herald?
Whoa, it was pretty brutal. And one of the things that I gleaned from it was just how dishonest Elizabeth Warren has been about her biography. You know, it's an interesting thing. If they were to be teamed up, you would have a presidential candidate who picks a vice president who can't know the truth and has basically created her own biography, with a presidential candidate who doesn't remember what the truth is. So one who can't tell the truth, and the other one who doesn't remember what the truth would be. That'd be quite a combo for the Democrats if they pick it.
Do you agree with this? They said that the article also states that throughout her failed campaign for president, Warren consistently failed to draw any moderate or independent voters.
Well, it's very true. In fact, the most significant thing is that in her own home state of Massachusetts, where she's the sitting senator, usually you get a little bit of a bump because, you know, sort of the root for the home team. Yep. Not in her case. She came in 3rd in the primary in her own state. That should have caused her to say, you know, maybe I just need to go home and tend to the home fires because somebody there doesn't really like me. That was very significant, and Joe ought to see that and say, no, I don't think so.
She wasn't strong in Vermont or Massachusetts. Governor Huckabee, but Joe was strong for us. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You bet.